So I'm hyperkinetic. My neurodiversity type is where my brain functions about 4 times faster than anything else around me. So my body takes its time to catch up, and so does my mouth. So with my neurodiversity is, I was diagnosed as a very, very young child. We was under care of social workers because we're hyperactive. Me and my brother were both hyperactive, and that's what they used to call us. But with this hyperkinetic, we didn't sleep, we didn't stop, we kept on going. And that's when we had 24-hour supervision from social workers. And when I had to be sometimes locked in a room with bars on the windows and a big lock on, so I couldn't escape, because I was a runner. I kept on running away.
How did that make you feel?
I love to escape. So every time I felt trapped, so I get very claustrophobic now. If anyone tries to grab hold of me or keep me confined in an area, they'll see that I flip into quite an aggression very quickly. And so with me being a young child, by the time I was 5-year-old, I worked out how to work a train line system so I could get myself to a train station and jump on a train into the middle of Manchester city centre. And then I'd be able to walk away round the Arndale Centre and get back on the train and get home at 5-year-old. Because me functioning of directions is, I want to go somewhere, I'll remember that specific place and how to get to it forever. It's like photographic memory, it's really weird. I can't actually remember how old I was because I was always under the care of social workers, so it would have been from probably the age of 3. The doctor's reports, I think I've got my own filing cabinet of incidents where I had to be taken to hospital either through injury or other situations where they needed to calculate of why I've done it, if you know what I mean. I think there's quite a lot of testing. I remember quite a lot of sitting in rooms and getting questioned for certain things, but I can't remember what it was for or why it was there. So, as in the later years, through my early teens, I had no concentration whatsoever. So in a classroom, I moved schools in the second year of high school, and my first high school, I had to sit at the front of the class because it was the only time they could engage with me, because I'd just wander and just not know what I was doing. So this is why I'm trying to help the young people who come in, making sure that they get the maths and English. That is the priority. Get your maths and English, because if you don't, you're going to struggle like I did. And because my reading and writing is pretty abysmal. But from that situation, it's made me grow in other areas. So getting into my teens, I was then put at the front of the class in my first lesson. I remember it like it's a picture here now. And I remember sitting next to the lad, Chris, and Mrs. Bright was in front. And then as I went through school, I drifted to the back of the class because they left me. And then by the time I got to fourth year of high school, so year 10, I didn't even take really a bag or a pen or anything, just turned up to school just because of my attendance. Reading and writing. So if I would have had the concentration, I would have been able to sit down for long enough to learn how to read. And that's where my greatest challenge has been. So when I was 18 and I was doing my apprenticeship, I did 18 months of a 3-4 year NVQ, and I couldn't read and write. So I had to go to night school to learn certain words like repair, warranty, servicing, and then I could piece them words with ands and its. And it's only the last few years, writing on Facebook and people correcting me grammar, that I've decided to put a comma in there and a full stop. So this is where the challenge is. If I wasn't so hyperactive, I could have sat still to learn to read. And I've got some reading that I have to do on a regular basis, but after 15 minutes I have to sleep. So I've only got a 15-minute span of reading before I'm done. That's for the evening. Oh, we're magical, aren't we? So the positive side of it is we can, I can more or less, this is not condoning anything, but I can more or less say what falls into my head because it comes out that quickly, that I don't realise what I've said until the situation's passed, or until it's landed on someone's plate and like, that's a bit close. And whatever it was, it's not, I don't say anything to be in a derogatory or in a bad or harmful way, it just falls out. So in the neurodiverse way, for me, I get around quite a lot of what falls out of my mouth. Yeah, another side to the positive aspects of neurodivergency are we can mask our emotions more than anyone would ever realise it. A situation can happen. I don't have empathy at all, unless it's to do with Samantha. Unless something is physically going wrong with Samantha, I don't have empathy for anyone, which is, in a way, people think that's a sad thing, but it's something where if anyone here has got an emotion that they need to tell me, they can tell me and it can be accepted, but it doesn't affect me. And because I've got a drug and alcohol past, and I help people with their drug and alcohol addiction, and they tell me their problems and what's going on in their life, in their childhood, etc., it never affects me. I've not got an emotional attachment to it. So that's another superpower, is having, for myself, although ADHD and neurodiversity is such a wide variety of a scale, my empathy side is missing. Right, so for people's perceptions of me, you best ask them, because I believe in my insanity that I come across as quite normal, but maybe a bit chatty, a little bit. So other people, like my good friend Tim Benson, when Alex has invited me to go on the ramp, he said, literally, you need to make a full day. If you don't stack a full day out, you'll never get what you want out of him, because he'll just divert to all different kind of areas. Because obviously you can tell now, I go from one subject to the next subject quite quickly. I'm awful. I'm terrible. So because of my work process is so precise, by the time I leave work, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm exhausted. And then when I get home, I'm broken, because I only live 2.3 miles away. So it's not enough break from work to home. In rush hour, it takes me 8 minutes. So I've got no separation. So I'm taking me built up anxiety and what I would call like a tornado built up inside. I take that home, which is awful. It's not nice for myself or my family. It's definitely not nice for my family. And I can react and overreact in a situation which doesn't need a reaction to. And from that, it's a challenge which I'm still trying to work with Samantha, where if I wake up on a Sunday morning, I wake up about 5:30, and I have to wait until it's a reasonable time for everyone to get up. And if they're not up straight away, I get anxious as why are people not up? Why are people not ready? Why have we not got a process? Why are we not out the door? And because they're children, and because they don't need to. And so, yeah, I'm an absolute nightmare when it comes to processes at home. I don't think it affects me. I think it's everyone else who's a challenge. With the emotion side of it, people can't come to with that and they've been warned. There is a process that we've got, a protocol. If you've got an emotion, go to Jack or Samantha, because there's no point coming to me. So with that side of it, it does put a barrier. So if someone's got a family issue, they can tell me about the family issue, and I'm prepared to completely understand that at any drop of a hat, they might have to leave work, and we can work that process. So the functionality of someone having to leave the workshop in an emergency is processed instantly, and then the diary's sorted and they can get off on the way and then they can sort their situation. So, but I can't be attached to the emotion side of it. And then the other side of it is if someone comes to us with a problem, I sort of expect a solution, or instead of just a dump of a problem, it's what would I try and guide them into bringing a solution with that problem. And when it's not brought with a solution, I can sometimes react in the incorrect manner, we'll call it. Not politically. my memory, without a doubt, for certain things. For 50% of everything, I'll have a photographic memory of it. It's the important stuff I don't have a memory for. I'm very, very productive. So a great strength I've got mechanically, because I can remember which nuts and bolts I've got to undo at a certain time and what sockets, etc. I need. If I'm working on the spanners for the day, I can usually sell about 15 hours in about 6, because the speed and the rate that I can work, because my process of a memory of previous jobs is I'm already flat out before I've even started. Major weaknesses is don't send me an email. Don't let me read a contract. Don't let me do any reading whatsoever. And remember important dates of family stuff. I was going to say caring. It's only in certain situations. So how would I describe myself in 3 words? Would be chaotic bedlam and occasionally precise. But that's... If you don't know that there's a situation with you, how do I describe this? If someone was in like ADHD or neurodivergent and they don't actually know or been diagnosed, but they can sense there's something not right, go with your gut feeling that there's something not quite mainstream normal. And this is where I find it a bit challenging, because mainstream normal is when I can visualize myself sat in my classroom at school, and you've got the really clever kids. Well, they're not mainstream normal. You've got the naughty kids, which aren't mainstream normal. You've got the ones who are completely distracted, the ones that really get on. So this area of diversity is so wide that everyone's got a snippet of inconsistency in life stuff. So you could get someone who is so precise in life, they'll polish a car 3 times a week, they'll have all the paperwork done at work, they'll have every email read, but the bedroom's a mess because they can't stand looking at it. And so from that scenario, anyone with any kind of diversity, they need to not really look for help, but look to find a solution of how to deal with life on a better process. And this is where Ben comes into it. This is where if you've got a problem and you're not dealing with it, especially in a motor vehicle trade, get in touch with Ben. And then they can, I think there's a questionnaire online, is it? Because I've not looked, because it's online and you have to read stuff. But one of my technicians has done a questionnaire online, and he said it was fantastic because he got the answers that he needed. And there is obviously the phone number, what they can contact. So with anything with neurodivergent, you've just got to work out what you want to achieve from it. If you want to achieve in a certain aspect of work or a certain aspect of life, you've got to find a solution to that individual problem. Then it doesn't become a problem, it becomes a solution-based situation. And then you get a routine of just continually finding solutions. And this is where the dyslexia comes in, is once you've had to find a solution for one thing, you get recall of solution finding. And so this is where anyone divergent, if you're struggling mentally, you've got any mental health problems, contact Ben, get in touch, and they'll help you with that side of it. But yourself, sit there and write stuff down. It might be with squiggles and you might end up eating the crayons like I do, but you'll end up getting a list of situations and then pick one and put it on the next bit and look at that of how you can fix that one situation. And then once you fix that one, go down your list and then pick another one and then fix that situation. And don't be overwhelmed of how many you got on that list, because you're only doing one. And that's a really good process of getting over it.